Okay, so here's the thing about Tag Heuer. Everyone can really agree on one thing, and that's that over the past 20 years, they've been kind of shit. And they would be right. They would be very right. Whether it's, the whole movement saga with them claiming something's an in-house movement, but it's not, it's something modified, to anything from 50 millimeter monstrosities, and really just not listening to like the watch enthusiasts in general. And those watch enthusiasts watching this know exactly what I'm talking about. They've cared about the masses, the people that are just buying a watch to seem cool, not the people like you and me that love the hobby and love collecting like we love, our own families. Let's just be honest, right? And I think they've slowly realized, especially Frederic Arnault, who's the son of Bernard Arnault, like the richest man in the world, owner of LVMH, became the CEO of Tag Heuer. And you might say, Nepo baby, right? Nepotism. And you also might be right as well. But ever since he came to Tag Heuer, he's completely changed the game. He's slowly phasing out the models nobody wants, the big crap. He's slowly bringing in stuff like this new line, the glass box line, the one that I am wearing that I'm going to talk about right now, that has completely changed everything. And I just want you to have an open mind right now. Those of you that have hated on Tag Heuer for a very long time, whether you bought something and it was totally messed up to, whatever. I've met them personally. I've been living with this watch for about 2 weeks now, and I have a lot to say about it. And I've handled a lot of Tag Heuer watches. I've owned Tag Heuer watches, and this is really good. It's really good. And you can see the direction that Tag Heuer is moving into. And it's not to say that you need to go right out and buy these, because this one you really can't, really any glass box, because they're all sold out. And the reason they're sold out is because they are really good. So there's a couple things that I really like about this thing, and there's a couple things that I don't, that I wish could be better. And I'm going to kind of show you that right now. So really, like, the first thing that jumps out here and is obviously, the coloring and the size in particular. Tag over the last, decade really has been releasing watches that are 40, 42 millimeters. And it's not great. It's not great. What you do is just kind of like see this on my wrist. Like I said, 39 millimeter on my 7-inch wrist, I think is the greatest size. It was basically the size of the old Daytona, which was the favorite watch I've ever worn. Yes, better than any $100,000, $200,000 watch. And this is really nice, just sizing wise on a 7-inch wrist. It's not too big and bulky, but with the coloring in particular, it's a little bit out there for those of you that want a little flash. And the coloring here is actually a nod to the old Skipper, which I'll get into. So like I said, a lot of people don't like when brands release these like almost like homages to like older watches. I personally like it. And that's just kind of a me thing, and you can decide for yourself what you like, what you don't like. But what I like about what Tag did here is they didn't just copy the old one. They changed a couple of things. So the old one had Skipper on the dial. This is Skipper in the left subdial. It kept a lot of the same coloring. The hands are slightly different with orange tips, whereas the older one didn't have orange tips. And it's a much sportier case too. If you look at the older one, it's still a Carrera case, but it's not very, like, this is a very modern case. They didn't just try to make the old version and keep it as so. The one thing that, and actually I'll get into that, but one thing I didn't like were these pushers. But these pushers are also very, these are vintage inspired pushers, I would say. This is not something modern. They're not screw down. And for the Skipper, which is primarily for, yacht timing, yacht races, I don't really understand why there wouldn't be screw down pushers, but that's beside the point. The open case back is done decently well. This is a decent movement. It's nothing really to write home about. That's really true of a lot of Tag movements. I'm trying to get this in focus for you. But it's good. It's good. The other thing I really do like is, like I said, with the sizing, is the wearing experience here. I do find, although that this watch is, as we say, for lack of a better term, out there with all of these different colors and such, I'm somebody that loves boating. So it fits my sort of style. And also, I really dress in plain clothing, and I think this brings out a little bit of my personality. That kind of dovetails, and like one of the things I don't like about this watch, and I pretty much like everything from the finishing to the dial to the vintage inspired concepts. The movement's pretty decent. It's nothing to write home about, but it's good. And the clasp is phenomenal. It's these pushers. I can't fully understand. I'm going to try to like press it next to the mic so you can kind of hear it. but it kind of feel cheap. And I hate to say that because I do really like the watch, and this is something I would own if they would sell it to me. This is a loan I've had for 2 weeks, but it doesn't feel great. I just think when I'm spending $6,000 or $7,000 in watches, that's not a lot of money. But for the average person and the average enthusiast, it is. And I think if I'm going to spend that amount of money, I want the pushers to feel luxurious. And they do feel a bit like they were an afterthought. I think the design was cool, definitely vintage inspired, but it's not great. The other thing I don't like about this watch, which I thought I loved when I first got it, but this is what happens when I like to review these after I've had them for a week or two, get to wear them all the time, because you don't really find anything out like this until after you wear it. Same thing with a car, right? After you get a car, you're like, oh my gosh, it's great. And then you find out there's a couple of things that just piss you off. One of the things I didn't like about this is actually the strap. It's like this canvas sort of, I think, fishing inspired material thing. Yacht inspired material. I don't like the way it's on my wrist. I'm going to kind of show you. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what I'm talking about. Like I said, I've had this for, 2 weeks now, and it's kind of hard to explain in camera, but this strap just doesn't bend. And you might say, Ben, that's going to morph to you over time. I've had a lot of leather straps that I hated and found that I loved because they need to be worn in. This is I've just had it for too long to where, like, if I tighten it any more than this, it is way too tight. Like, it is constricting me. And I just don't love, I don't love it as a strap material. It's a premium material. It's good. But for me in particular, like I said, when I'm spending this amount of money, I better love it. I really don't like it. Does the strap matter? No. In contrast to the strap, I think the Clasp is a 10 out of 10. They've done such a good job. It's very easy, very seamless, luxurious. And you're getting what you pay for with the Clasp. I think this is great. I think they have this on all the glass box. I think they have this on other models as well. And it's good. But yeah, that's essentially my review. So there's a couple of things I like. There's a couple of things I don't like. And this is kind of probably one of the only people you've ever seen review this that has had the watch for 2 weeks. I didn't even have to buy it, which is nice. So I'm going to try to do more of these. So if you like this video, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If you want to like and subscribe for the next one, you want to go watch another one, you can go up here, and you can go watch. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Short one today. And if you like this, let me know in the comments.